all connected with korbanos, and we don't have any korbanos. So we're missing
343.
66%. 7 to the third, right?
But if you come early,
Is
it's
it
only
7?
50%.
It's 7 to the power 3?
Yeah. So we said that the neshama, when it looks from above, what does it see? It sees that it only sees bittul, and it experiences the bittul. So it looks at this world and it says this whole world is exactly as it should be. There's no feeling there's anything even wrong. Because of that, there's no ability to change. It goes together. Because you can't change, you also can't see anything wrong. The moment that you can change, the moment that you feel, in a certain sense,
to change, you need to know what's wrong. In order to learn something, you have to understand you don't know anything.
It's sort of like the Rebbe, that he constantly was changing. He never stayed the same. If you're always changing yourself, you're always exercising your free will yourself, so you can help others do the same thing. But if you don't know what free will is, how are you gonna see that somebody else can change also? Okay. Let's go to the third line from the top. Even though the neshama sees a tremendous amount of divine revelation, and that's where you see the nullification itself before Hashem. There, even the Tuma admits that Hashem is God. There's so much nullification there. Nullification doesn't help. He can't remove from himself his failures in this world when he was embodied. When he was embodied, he went after his animal soul. He went after his cravings. And he gets locked into them. He can't get out of them.
So how do you get out of them?
Only here in this world can you get out of them.
But if you're locked into them, how do you get out of them? Even in this world.
You have to make an effort to break your cravings. You have to make an effort. Somebody wrote on the class on Facebook yesterday that Hashem loves the smell of burnt flesh. He was trying to make fun. Whether it's animal or human. So I said, yes, he also likes the smell of burnt human. But what he means, what Hashem means, what Torah means by burnt human, is that you burn the animal soul. Is that you shecht your own animal soul. That's called bringing a sacrifice. So everything that you said, but we don't have 343 mitzvos, in Maaseh, it's true, but psychologically we do have these mitzvos. Something's missing from what we're doing as a community, because most of these korbanos are communal korbanos. Most of these sacrifices come from the community. They don't come from an individual. With an individual, we're missing something like 20 or 30. But at the individual level, what did somebody who lived 2,500 years ago get from Korban Pesach, from Shnei Alechem and Shavuos? What did he get from the Tamid?
He got the kapara.
Okay. But what did he do? There was no mitzvah.
He didn't have to do anything.
Oh. So it's not that we have less.
In his place.
Okay, it's not that we have less. We actually have more. Because instead of it being done for us, we have to do the same thing for our animal soul. So how do we do? Neshalma parim sfateinu. So instead of bringing the korban tamid, we daven. They didn't daven twice a day.
The people who didn't go to the Beis Hamikdash didn't daven?
Of course not. They had something. I don't know what they had. It's not the davening that we have. The davening that we have developed because we have no Beis Hamikdash.
They didn't put on tefillin?
According to the Gemara, it was enough to put on tefillin once in your life. There's an opinion from once in your life to once a day to in every time you pray. From that you can almost understand that once a day in praying is maybe close. To walking with him all day long. There's 4 different opinions in the Gemara, in Menachos. So there are many people I think who put on tefillin maybe once in their lifetime. So he did the mitzvah.
טוב, he's not ככפת את התפילין.
Okay. What kind of prayer did they have? We don't know. We know that they read in the Sefer Torah. How many Sefer Torah did they have? I don't know. But in Bayis Sheni they probably already had a good number, because we have Sefer Torah from Bayis Sheni, from the end of Bayis Sheni. They were preserved. Not in good shape. It's only pieces of it. But we have. There was one found in Ein Gedi. It's made on deer skin.
Where is it now?
I don't know. I don't know. It's from when I say Bayis Sheni, it's already after the Churban, but not long after the Churban. I think it's from 200. They consider it 150. I don't remember what. So they congregated to because that was at the Takana from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, to lean on Shabbos and Sheni v'Chamishi. But what did they daven every day? They probably daven something, but it's not our davening. Certainly, it's not nowhere near as long as our davening. It's nowhere near the same amount of effort. So a lot of the duties that in the past were just done for us, we have to do ourselves. So it's true, most people don't know how to shech their animal soul. But you do, just a simple takana that Chazal added, that you have to say a bracha before you drink or eat. That's shechting the animal soul.
That's midaraisa.
Brachos? No. The only thing that's from the Raisa is just to say Birkus Hamazon after you.
So it's a
after you eat.
So if you go to say thank you,
Said it, but somebody had to learn this Kal V'chomer. It's one of the 7 mitzvahs d'Rabbanan. So everybody agrees that this wasn't around. In the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. On the other hand,
Moshe Rabbeinu didn't make a bracha for he ate his bar of chocolate. Of course,
maybe he did, but nobody else did. But there's something that says that David Amel said you have to make 100 brachos every day. That's how we ended the Mageifa, the Dever. That's also what we need to do now. To end an epidemic, you have to say 100 blessings every day. In any case, there's a lot of things that we do on a personal level, individual level, that they didn't have. Because for them it was done communally. Somebody else brought the korban, somebody else took care of it. And you were pater, go happily about your business. So, we have a lot more responsibility in that sense. We have a lot more duty to control the animal soul, and to take the soul out of its soma. Okay? Soma in Greek means body, but it also means jail. So to free the soul from the body means to be able to serve Hashem without any impediments from my animal soul. So that's what I'm supposed to do in this world, to free myself. What did Jefferson write? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
And some are more equal.
Again, that they whited out at some point. And what are their 3 things it says? I forgot. And the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So that life, so we know what life is. Liberty is really liberty to serve Hashem. Mm-hmm. To be liberated from the needs of not the needs. Needs is fine, but the jail of the incarceration of not being able to pursue my spiritual pursuits. That's the real pursuit of my happiness. That's a real liberty. So what happens to him? והוא עניין כף הכלא שמקלינו, משליכינו, מפילינו אותו במחשבותיו שנמשך בהם בעולם הזה, בהבלי עולם שמתלוצצים ממנו. So when there's no body anymore, so there's a figure called, it's a state called kaf hakela, where you're thrown from side to side. So in this world, you would imagine it as being the body being cast from one place to another, and driving you nuts.
One end of the world to the other.
Well, it's enough to do 100 meters even. Obviously, when there's no body, so that's not what's going on. But this is what's going on in the mind, in the soul's mind, in the soul's existence, is that he's being thrown around from place to place in the thoughts that he had in this world, from in the cravings that he had in this world. So he's living a life of craving, not even able to get. He can't remove this from his body. There's no body. He can't remove it from his soul. His soul is still encased in this spiritual prison, where he's still stuck in these cravings. And it's as if he has a body. He has no body, but it's as if he has a body. The body has such a strong hold on him. His cravings have such a strong hold on him that they create a body for him. And it feels to him like he's still speaking and talking and thinking and doing. How do you know, for instance, we're not in that state right now? Oh, so how do you know? Because it says here you can't break out of it. But if you've been able once to drive back a craving and to say no, so that's proof you're not there. It could be that some people, even that you see them in this world, they're living just like that. They're living like they're in Kafakela. They don't know that there is a possibility of controlling their urges, of breaking free of them. כי הנה מחשבה דיבור מעשה שהם שלוש מיני לבושים כנודע שנתלבש בהם בעולם הזה, הם נעשים לו לבוש שק ובגדים צועים לעולם הבא. So they become his garment, his body, in the world of souls. Okay? These same thoughts and actions and things he said, if he doesn't do tshuva over these things, if he doesn't free himself from them, so he takes them with him.
But some people do bad things and good things.
Okay.
So what happened to all the good things?
Oh, good question. So we're not talking apparently about somebody like that. And again, it's not about whether you did good things or bad things. I think Hasidus is a lot about doing good things, but more than anything, it's about breaking your limits, going beyond your limits. More than even the amount of good that you did, it's how you did it. Did you do more than what you thought you could? For a lot of people, the place that they can't break through is money. For instance, with tzedakah, they say, I can give a tenth. I can't give 11% or 12%. It doesn't matter. That's also why to break, you don't have to, says the Rambam, you don't really have to go overboard entirely. It's not like if you gave a tenth until now, so now give 20. No, give 10.01%, then 10.02, then 10.03, then 10. Just keep breaking each time. The more times you break it, the more you get from it. It's like nano tzedakah. You have to go down to smaller resolutions. Each time, give a little bit more. Because then you get the added benefit that you're constantly breaking your limits. You're constantly shattering them. And that's how you want to live your whole life. Every time I did a little bit more. I didn't think I could do this, and now I'm doing this. I didn't think I could do this, and now I'm doing this. All these things I didn't think.
With this Karen, there's a period when a whole group of people were all driving me crazy all at the same time. I mean, it's pretty common when before Chagim and stuff, and I kept getting phone calls. One after the other, I was driving to Shul, with Moshe Maya. And someone on the phone said, "This, and that. I said, "What do you want from me? What do you want from me? How on earth is any one human being supposed to be able to deal with so many people and so many problems in such a short amount of time?" This was the thoughts in my mind. I walked down the steps to go and check it out. There's a guy giving a shiur on Daf Yomi. And as I walked in, opened the doors, he says, so it says in the Gemara that the Kodesh Baruch Hu doesn't give a person any more to deal with and he's perfectly capable of dealing with. So, oh, okay, thank you. I got the decision. Sometimes you get answers. But,
Today I got an answer like that in a letter from the Rebbe.
I am.
Not that I put something into the Igros. That doesn't work for me. I have to get it in technology. So you get the daily letter from there's a group. It's actually pretty big. They send a daily letter.
I am.
Yeah, we're talking about it last night with my wife. You know, when we woke up in the morning, we kept talking about it. And then she opened before me. We're in the same group. She saw a letter. It was incredible. Okay.
Yeah, weiter.
וכמאמר הז"ל מלפפתו, ואין חבוש מתיר את עצמו. רק כעניין שנאמר, הסירו הבגדים הצועים, הסירו.
Throw away your dirty
כן,
garments.
כן. And these are the garments, you have to get rid of these garments by just tossing them out the window. You have to decide that this is not what I'm
Then
going
you
to
can
look
be
like.
walking around naked.
Hopefully, from all the averos that you have. וטעם ההפרש וההבדל שבין עולם הזה לעולם הבא. So what's the difference? כי בעולם הבא אין לך דבר שאין לו מקום. Everything has its own place. In the world to come, in the world of souls, sorry, not the world to come. In the world of souls, it's like quarantine. That's why I keep thinking, I think I told you this theory already, that our world is becoming more and more, is becoming closer, more and more similar to the world of souls. Which is not a great thing. What does it mean?
Quarantine.
That everything is separate. We talk a lot about being separate, about nifrad being tuma. But when you think about it long and hard, really what it means is that tuma means to be dead. Yeah. What happens when you die? Everything becomes separate. Everything, like the Rambam says, when something stops, or like a science says today, when something stops being alive, it can no longer keep everything together. Okay? It can't keep stuff together. So each yesod, says the Rambam, each one of the elements goes back to its core, to its source. So that's called disintegration.
That's physicality, but what happens in the spirituality?
And spirituality is the same way. In this world, that's what Rashbi said. The world that we're coming from is like a Bei Hilula. It's like a wedding. What's important? What's great about the wedding? The two people come together. Things can come together in this world. The moment you're not in this world, everything has its space. You don't have to worry about how many square meters you have in your apartment, because you have exactly the amount. By the way, the whole thinking that says that utopia is where every person gets exactly what they need, what they're imagining is a world of souls. Some perfect world where everything has its place. That was the utopian vision, specifically the communist utopian vision. And today, when you look at people who are trying to picture the future, a lot of them are Russians, they're coming up with the same game plan. It's just communism all over again. I read a lot of this stuff, so I know what they're saying. So they're saying that in 10 years, you won't be able to go to a store to buy clothing. You'll get a packet. And the only thing they'll ask you is, what size are you? But that's it. We'll take care of you. There's something in the Russian attitude that always falls back into this. That it's not about communication, it's not about interaction.
That's not new in the slightest.
So,
I worked with a pharmacist who was working at a machon in Russia. And she told me she saved 5 years till she got enough money to buy a new jumbo. Then when she finally got enough money, she walked into the clothing store. And when you walk into the clothing store, there's nothing. There's a woman and a table. said, what do
What
you want?
size are you?
No, what do you want? He says, a jumper. I said, what color do you want? Green, red, yellow. Well, we're going to go blue. Okay, fine. Okay, stay here. What size are you? Stay here. And then come down the chute after 10 minutes. A jumper in a box. Sealed. Take it. Get out. That's it. So that's not new.
That was communism. Communism is the opposite of communism. There's no community. There's only individuals, really. And that's exactly what they did. They pitted every person against every person. So there's no, if you're in the in crowd, even in the in crowd, they were against each other.
Right, they killed each other like flies.
So there's something inherently just warped about this whole thinking, because what are you trying to do? You're trying to make this world into the world of souls.
That's what Korach wanted to do.
Okay, same idea. But there, at least he was talking about, in the sense that everybody's holy. Maybe not everybody can do the same thing, but everybody's holy. Okay, everybody has a soul. But the more equality you want, the more you fall into this world of no interaction. Because eventually, what does pure equality mean? It means complete entropy, because there's no need to interact anymore. Entropy just means lack of interaction. When you think about it, what does entropy mean? It means
entropy means motion.
Entropy means that the energy content goes down. Why does it go down? It's like molecules in extreme cold. Entropy goes to infinity, because there's no interaction anymore between the molecules. Each one's frozen in its place. So you can't bring the physical world to that, because stuff still grows and whatever can. But in a certain sense, that's what they have in their mind: infinite entropy. And he says that's the situation when everything has its place. They're separate. Let's just read the full sentence. שכל מדרגה היא מובדלת מחברתה. Every level is separated from the others. מלאכים ונשמות לקדושה הם מובדלים בפני עצמם. The angels and the souls, each one is at its level. Each one is in a separate place. אין צדיק נחווה מחופתו של חברו.
So no one's talking to anybody else in Gan
Right.
Eden.
Exactly. There's no interaction. That's what's in a certain sense, when you can turn this world into a world of souls.
But they say that if you followed your Rebbe, you go into the Chatzer of your Rebbe. So how do you go into the Chatzer of the Rebbe if no one's in
Come,
the
there's nothing going on there. He keeps talking. You keep listening. And that's it. There's no tish. There's no food. There's no arguing with your neighbor. There's no helping your neighbor. There's none of that. It's gone. That's what it looks like. That's why it's such a blessing to be down here. Because you know you need that interaction. You know that's what keeps you alive. ואין להרע שייכות עם הטוב כלל. And good and evil are completely separate. That's why we call it Gan Eden. Why do we call it Gan Eden? Because we say that Adam, before he ate from the tree of knowledge, he was in a state like a soul. He had a body. It wasn't like just a soul. It's not like some people picture it, that he wasn't embodied yet. Of course he was embodied. Hashem says that he made him a body. And then he gave him life. But the soul was at a level that it couldn't yet join things together. It didn't understand the meaning of joining. That's why in the Pshat, he only knows Chava, he only has marital relations with her after they eat from the tree of knowledge. That's in the Pshat of the Chumash. The Rebbe has a sikha, he says even in the Pshat it's not true, because Rashi has a way of...
Rashi says that the snake was watching them. And so that Rashi said...
So Rashi has his own... And the Rebbe goes by the Rashi Shita. But still, if you read it, if you read the order of the Psukim, you'll see that they only came to know each other after they ate from the tree of knowledge. Meaning after they understood how to bring together good and evil, so they could bring together male and female. There's no way to join opposites yet. מה שאין כן בעולם הזה, ולכן במקום שנמשך רע, לא נמשך טוב כלל. So therefore you can't switch, you can't do tshuva. Because if you're already surrounded by some evil, you have no way of switching it, turning it into goodness. You don't know how to do it. מה שאין כן בעולם הזה נמשך הטוב גם במקום שיש רע. But here it's mixed, everything is mixed. So there's good even in the place where there's evil. וכן אף על פי שעשה עבירה, יכול לעשות מצווה. כן, everything is mixed up. In that sense, the internet is the last bastion, in a certain sense, of this world. It's very strange. Because you would usually think of the internet as just negative. It's not. No, it's a place where everything is mixed. It's exactly a place where, put it this way, that if you're in quarantine now, the only way you can talk to people, you can still have interactions, is using the internet. So it's saving you in some way. It's like the last attempt at having some kind of connection with something. So it's very interesting. Before the Baal Shem Tov, a tzaddik would be a hermit. He would go into the forest or somewhere in the wilderness and live by himself. So you have to ask, what is he here in this world for? What's going on? Why would you come down into this world to live a life of isolation? What's the point? So the Baal Shem Tov said, you're making a mistake. The whole point of coming down into this world, even if you're a tzaddik, is because in this world, it's a world of interaction. So you have to leave the wilderness, you have to leave the forest, and you have to move to towns. And you have to take care of people.
Baal Shem Tov himself lived in isolation for a while.
Until Chiyah Shiloni taught him that he has to reveal himself. And to reveal yourself is to begin to have interactions. So we'll just end with this, I think you have to go, right? So just end with this thing, that Gmilut Chasadim equals Torah. The Torah in this generation, according to the Baal Shem Tov, is Gmilut Chasadim, is doing kindness to others. It's also equal to Rabbi Chaim Ben Atal, today's Ortzeit, the Orach Chaim.
Which was also the day that my son put on tefillin for the first time. 2 months before his birthday.
Okay. So this is so when you think about it this way, it really becomes a question of what are we doing here? So we're not here to be isolated.
What are we doing here? Running the Keren. That's what we're doing.
Running.
Running the Keren, giving people help.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem that you have that stage in your life. I mean, you had a lot of stages. In all of them you had interactions. But that's why it's so important to get married. It's so important to have children. Because these are exactly the things that you can't have just as a soul. And when you return to being just a soul, you take it with you.
So where does the inyan of receiving a sechar come into it?
What do you mean, sechar in the world to come?
Yeah. Just it didn't get turned into Gehenna, which is sechar.
No. The whole idea is that somehow this interaction, it leads to Hashem being present in the world. So you revealed godliness in a way that can't be revealed, just the way that the soul is without a body. You gain something that, and again, the main limit that you have to overcome is the limit between you and someone else. That's the main limit.
Toiv. Very interesting.
Yes.